Howdy, y'all. All right, people have asked for how to disassemble. I guess I haven't done a complete, like, just assemble and that's it. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, first thing we need to do is make sure there's nothing in the chamber. Remove the magazine, make sure there's nothing in the chamber, and decock it if you haven't already done that. Usually pull the magazine, fire it, make sure it, because when you, to cock it, pull the magazine, it's going to be cocked. We want to make sure it's decocked, whether we fire it or decock it by using the lever. But make sure there's nothing in the chamber, because there's a reason for that, and I'll show it to you in a little bit here. Okay, first thing we want to do is remove the stock. We need a 3 millimeter. I think this is 3. I forget what it is now. It's a 5 millimeter. Remove the stock. Five millimeter. All right, that's the only time you're going to need this 5 millimeter. All right, next thing we're going to do is degas it. This takes a 2.5 millimeter. Now, the reason we leave this thing decocked is so that when the air pressure hits the level that the hammer spring can push the valve open and dump the rest of the air. That's what you want to do. So it's going to dump air. If there's anything in that barrel, it's going to send it down range. Going to loosen this up. We don't have to take it out, just loosen it up. And this one is a 30 caliber, 22, 25, and 30 caliber. They're all built the same. Now I may cut this video till it gets down closer to being bled off, because it usually takes a little bit. And there it is. That's why you say make sure there's nothing in the barrel. Okay, first thing we're going to do is remove the hammer spring adjuster. Now, normally there is a screw right here, and I believe it's a 2 millimeter Allen wrench to take it out. I have that removed. I don't use it. You can leave it in if you want, but we're going to reach back here. We're going to unscrew this cap, and you have to take it out. You either have to screw it all the way in or take it out. And since we're disassembling it, we're going to take it out. So we're doing a complete disassembly. There's the cap, hammer spring, and the spring guide. All right. What we're going to do now is disassemble the bottom from the top. First thing we need to do is take the fill cap off. Put that over our way. We need a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench to unloosen this screw. A couple turns. Move that out of our way. Same 2.5 millimeter wrench, Allen wrench. We're going to come down here, these 4 screws right here. Get them out. I'm not going to do a lot of talking in this video. We're just going to get it done. Cut those 4 screws out. Now, the reason we took this cap out of the end is you got to go through here and get a screw out right there. And sometimes it doesn't want to come out, so just leave it there, it'll fall out. Next one is these 2 screws over here on top where the magazine goes. Be careful that you don't pop this out. It'll just pop in and out. That's your for your cocking lever, tension on your cocking lever. All right, take those 2 screws out so that you don't lose them. Now I went and I didn't do one thing before I took this off. I was going to break this jam nut off, so now I've got to go get an extra wrench. If you have the proper metric wrenches, you can use those. I don't have them in the house. It's just a small jam nut that holds the barrel tension. All right, there's 2 set screws right here, 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench. Back them up a couple turns. Unscrew the magazine. All right. Now if you want to disassemble this, there's a screw right here, and all this comes. You unscrew this and you unscrew your cocking pin, and then you can slide everything out if you want to do that. There's another, while we're here, I'm going to show you another thing. Your detent balls to hold your magazine in, if you need to tighten those up, if your magazine is loose, I want to say it's a 1.5, I could be wrong. You go in there and you can tighten them up from this side. Those are fine, so I'm not going to mess with them. And I'm not going to tear this down any further. Just if we're only putting O-rings in, that's all we need. You have an O-ring right here. That's for your from your transfer port to go through your receiver. All right. Here's 2 O-rings here, and there's an O-ring on the inside here. There's no reason to disassemble anything else in here unless you want to. I've got a moderator on mine. There's nothing in here unless you want to just take it apart to clean it. But for just replacing O-rings, this is as far as you need to go with it. I'm going to set that to the side. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this apart. And you've seen it was finger tight. The O-ring is what seals, not how tight you get it. There's that. Your one-way valve O-ring is down inside of here. There's nothing wrong with it. Leave it alone. It is a pain in the butt. All right. Let's separate the air tube from the regulator housing. Same thing, hand tight. There it is. This tube can go either way. Threads are the same on both ends. All right. Now let's take the regulator housing out. Like I said, same things, hand tight. This thread is bigger than that thread, so the smaller thread goes into the plenum. At this point, if you want to change the O-rings here, you just pull it out. There's 2 sets of O-rings in here. Push them back on. O-ring, O-ring. You can look in the manual. If you go to their website and download the digital manual, let me find it. The digital manual has all the part numbers and O-ring sizes and all that. This one says 22 and 25, but this is a 30, but it's the same thing other than the O-ring in the end of the barrel. Need it a little bit bigger for that 30 caliber. That's why you have one for 22 and one for 25 on here, but there's also, when they made this, they hadn't put out the 30 yet. Here's your regulator bevel washer stack up. All right, let's remove the plenum. All right, now this goes here, but it won't go here. The plenum only goes one way. All right, this is your valve body. This is your hammer spring body. That's what I'm going to call them. I don't know what they officially call them. So now we're going to separate the two. 2.5 millimeter go in here. A couple turns, separates. Now you go in right here. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong hole. This one, you go in here. 2.5 millimeter, couple turns back. We got to come in here. Next we're going to come in here and there's a nut in here. If you want to measure and be able to put it back in the same spot, you can take and measure it down. Mine is about 5/15 in. I'm going to take this Allen wrench and we're going to pull that nut out, and be careful because there is a spring behind it and it could go flying. All right, there's that. And you notice it's cupped on this side. That goes in first. Here's your poppet. Now this is an aftermarket one. Here's your spring. Goes together like that and that. Okay, now that we got that out, we can get the valve body out. Preferably take a piece of wood or something, push it out. All right, valve body, or valve housing, whatever you want to call it, and this is the actual valve. Here's your two O-rings. In the case of the person asking me this question, when the poppet valve opens and the air comes out, it's possibly the air is leaking right here, coming out and going out the backside that he's questioning is leaking. All right. One last thing I want to do here to do a total disassembly. We need a 3mm Allen wrench. Take that screw out. Hammer. Receiver housing, hammer housing, whatever you want to call it, trigger group. There's O-rings here, all the O-rings on all the connectors. The only thing I haven't showed you is the regulator. Again, be careful pushing on it, but you come in from this side and you push it out. There's the regulator. Now it has O-rings on the outside and on the inside. If you want to see a video of how to rebuild this, I have a separate video for that. All right, that's it. It's disassembled. Thanks for watching.